Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. Today we'll be talking about the Omaha, or should say Spark Omaha, North Omaha Bike Trail. We'll get it all out. And my special guest to talk about that will be Daisy Cole, who is with the North Omaha or Bike Trail, and she's with Sparks. And I think she's in our waiting room. So let's bring her on in. There she is. So if you could unmute yourself and here we go. Hi, how are you? You you're muted. You're still muted.
Hi, how
There
are
you
you?
go. That's
All
okay. I
right.
do that all the
I
time, so don't worry about it.
okay. I promise I know how to use this, but I guess I'm too excited that I'm like completely forgot how to turn off the camera or turn it on and the audio, but here I am.
Oh,
How are
that's
you today?
fine. That's fine. As I was talking with our audience, I want to know that tonight we're going to be talking about the North Omaha Bike Trail, which is actually an urban design through Sparks. But everybody kind of knows it by just North Omaha Bike Trail. And so there's going to be an upcoming workshop that you're trying to get the community involved in order to be able to talk about and spread how close you're getting and some of the things that are happening. So what I'd like to do, if you could kind of give our audience a little of about you and what role you're playing in the bike trail. And then we could talk about what's coming up and what is expected on Saturday. So I'm
All
going to turn
right,
it
that
over to
sounds
you.
good. Thank you so much. So I'm Daisy Coyle. I'm originally from Colombia. I moved to Omaha, Nebraska maybe 5 years ago. I'm coming with a background on logistics, international business, and then I moved here working for the nonprofit world. I started with Catholic charities, then move on into the Department of Economic Development, and then I found this wonderful organization, Spark. And my role here is to be the project manager for the North Omaha Trail.
And what is it, if you had to sum it up, what is the North Omaha Trail?
Yes, that's a really good question. So we see it as the point of connectivity for the community with different resources, where those resources can be commercial, education, recreation. So we are looking at the North Omaha Trail just to find the way to connect people from point A to point B.
And if you had to sum it up, is to say, what is really how should I put it? Um, Anywhere you go where there's a bike trail, what is really the big focus is to get people to what?
Yes, so I also want to point out that this is just not the bike trail, it's also like a multimodal trail, which means you can either walk, bike,
Hmm.
use a scooter, different transportation methods that are not just the bike. So I see it as the way, and that's a really good question. Like, how can they be connected to what?
Right.
And the opportunities are infinite, right? Like, do you want to go to a park? How can we utilize that multimodal trail to go to that park? Do you need to go to the store, but you don't have a car today? So, how can we walk to the multimodal trail? Or you have a meeting, or if the weather is nice, how can we use that to be a source or resource or tool to be more healthy? To have access to different activities or um, amenities that will be just right there in front
Mhm.
of you by the trail.
Right. And so the last of the workshops for community engagement is going to be Saturday, and I think I had that one of the flyers. Well, actually, I kind of went to your website for this, so let's just kind of bring that in too. Um,
Yeah,
Creighton University, the Mike and Josie Harper Center. They're at 602 North 20th Street. And it's going to be this coming Saturday,
that's
from
right.
12 to 2.
And lunch is going to be
And
provided.
You are. But I have to say, Daisy, you always are excited. And I
We
don't mean that
are.
in a negative way. I mean it in a positive way, is
Yeah.
that, and that's always good because right now we have so many things that people seem to be down, but you're always really up and positive and excited about this because I think it's probably a passion or something with you so that comes across. So I do mean that as a compliment and not a negative.
Yes, thank you. So, I came as an immigrant to this country, and for me, I never drove a car back in my country. So
Whoa.
for me, the passion to learn how I can, and I use bike all the time when I was back there. And
Uh-huh.
probably one of the passions that I have here is just to help those who have not access to a car, a bike, or any other kind of transportation by
Mhm.
walking, right? So how can we make this more accessible to them? And to your point, yes, tomorrow we have the third workshop at the Creighton University is going to be from 12 to 2. Lunch is going to be provided. And what we really want to get out of that workshop is to see what the community wants the trail to be. What would you like to see every time that you're thinking about using the trail? Is that art? Is that a store? Is that like a library on the way to go to your destination? Things like that. So talking a little bit about what the workshop will be, it will be 2 hours. The first hour will be talking about the technicality, like where are we in the phase two, what's the map, what's the route, what will they see when they are taking that route of the North Omaha Trail phase two. Also, for the second hour, then we will use the imagination from the community, and we would like to be just for the people that is going to use it. So we are very grateful that we have organizations that we've been partnering with us and working along with what they would like to see. But we actually wanted just to know what the community really wants. So we want to make this accessible to them. So it would be awesome if we can get people from the community to go and give us those ideas of what they want to see when we're building the phase two. And you also asked me, where are we in the phase two? Because we have
Hmm.
break these into different phases. So phase one was already completed. It goes from 24th Street and Ohio up to 30th Street and Sprague. And now phase two will connect that 24th Street and Ohio all the way down to 26, connecting again with 24th Street and going downtown to the Baby Bob Bridge. So that will be the design of phase two. Right now, we are in the 30%, which means we have laid out the route, but we still want the input from the community to see what they would like to see. Then we will jump to the 60% where we will have more ideas of what the community want, what the project is, how can we connect these two together, and jump into the 90%, which is basically saying, here we are, we have everything that we need, all the pieces are together, let's start the construction.
And that leads right into several of the questions I do have when you say, and this is phase two. And I really feel like there was community. I attended the first one. I wasn't able to attend number two. My hopes is to be able to attend part of number three. Um,
Mhm.
but the thing that I want, and I'm hoping that I'm not encouraging people to attend something that is already set in stone. So it is not set in stone. So we will have
It
you on
is
camera.
not.
You are really wanting the route. Let's make it clear. The route is kind of set. That's set.
That's right. Mhm.
But the actual design or the structure or what can be in it is not set. And you really do want community involvement and participation.
That's correct. And thank you for pointing that out. Yes, so we have the 30% layout of the route, and that's not even finalized. It's just
Mhm.
like we think it could be here. We are a little bit further than the beginning, so we know where it will be or a general idea of where it will go. But the design portion, we need the community to tell us what they want. And that's what we're doing with these workshops, which is the first time that we're doing the workshop for phase two, just to gather together all those ideas from the community of what the design should look like.
But thanks, because well, you already know that, but I really it just burns me when, you try to get the community to attend something and everything. It's all really, really done. And it's like a pony show for, and I don't really appreciate being involved in that. I like the idea, and at least I feel like that this is actually a time for people who want to be involved and be able to give some type of input into this to make it really be working for people and for the community to really have an input on it. When do you talk about these ideals? So when do you try to think, okay, now we've gotten the ideals from the community, when would you are trying to project how soon those will take and start? Will there be another to community involvement, maybe one more or something to say, hey, this is what we are looking at doing. We got the input from the three workshops, and we're going to start moving forth on the construction or that. Will there be another one to try to lay out, say, this, did we get it right? I guess I'm trying to get to that point. What is the plans
Yes.
for that?
Yep. So our plan is now that we have these three workshops
Mm-hmm.
is to collect that information,
Okay.
input everything that we have collected into a document, right? To lay it out. And once we have that, we'll have a next workshop trying to be, okay, these are your ideas. How can we,
Okay.
from 10 ideas that you have, make more realistic and get two or three or four,
Hmm.
whatever the amount is. But of course, I wish I could be taller, right? But I know I can that can happen. But how can we connect all those ideas that you
Right.
guys have to make it more realistic? Because yes, these workshops is to gather your ideas. What would you like to see? But at the end of the day, we have a budget, but we want to have your ideas to fit in that budget. So yes, we will have a four workshop. We haven't set the date yet because we
Okay.
want to see how this goes first, gather those ideas, and as we have it, we will finalize those details. And something that I want to point out too is that for the workshop that you guys will go on Saturday, we have provided some concepts
Okay.
about art, about cultural reflection or wayfinding,
Hmm.
amenities. So if any of the ideas that you have are not included here, that's what we want to know. Because for the next workshop, we can include that and make sure that we have all that information from the community.
Will you be able to put something out like because everybody's always running here and there. Would you be able to take after this workshop and maybe make that fourth workshop virtual or either make it say, hey, this is what we did. We had the last workshop and now we're going to put it out on our website and make it possible where people can have a little bit more input to you to make that.
Yes. Yes,
Great.
so we have two game plans here. So the first one, again, we wanted to do it in person just to see
Hmm.
how that will go.
Okay.
Our fourth workshop will be online to access more community members, but we also have the Fabric Lab where we have all the materials that we use
Okay.
for the workshops to be laid down here. And at any point, somebody can stop at the Fabric Lab and give us those ideas. We are collecting that information here too. And
Okay.
we have the Fabric Lab open Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So feel free to stop at any time. Again, we will have all those concepts layouts in the Fabric Lab so people can come and give us their ideas of what they would like to see.
And that was on Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to what time?
Uh, yes. So I'm sorry, I'm
Tuesdays,
taking that back. So it
Tuesday
will be
through
from
go ahead.
Wednesday through
Wednesday,
Saturday.
Wednesday
Yes,
through Saturday. Okay.
from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I talked to her, and I think she said she was there from Wednesday to Saturday. So,
Yes,
okay,
sorry,
so
I'm
we want
taking
to
that
make
back.
sure, folks, that you still have a chance, or you will have a chance, even after this third workshop in the fourth, is to be able to go by. So, when I hear people say, oh, well, it's just their ideals and nothing. This is one because I don't try to promote things that I don't believe in or that they're being right. So I am supporting this is to say, at least I feel like we're getting more of an opportunity as a community as whole than we did in the first round of the workshop. I mean, of the trail. This is an opportunity for people. You're trying to get it out to say, maybe we didn't catch you in this, but we want you to be part of this in this community. We want it to be part of the community as it is developing. So I'm going to give you kudos, and I hope you don't make me out of a liar for this because I'm supporting
No,
this. But
yes. And
I feel like, that it is moving where there is more community engagement. And that's one thing that I'm really big on is trying to do what we can for community engagement. But I will also tell the community, if you don't, then that's on you. If efforts
yeah,
are made to be able to present your ideals and feel like you're part of it, because I just went to a meeting last night and I felt like it's already a done deal. It was just really a waste of pony show. Well, I don't feel like the North Omaha Trail is that. I'm going to be posting this on the Facebook page and our Conversations with Cheryl Weston website and our YouTube is to let people know we can't keep sitting back and talking about something when we have an opportunity to be part of something. So we have to hold Spark accountable is this is what you said, this is what you're going to do. And so I appreciate the honesty of being
yeah,
able to have you here to be on the show to say, encourage people to get out, make your comments, whether, if you're for or against, at least be honest enough to say, hey, this is what I think, this is what I don't like, to get.
yeah.
So one more on the workshop on Saturday, there will be, as she said, an opportunity for more input, and then we'll move to a fourth. And you talked about construction, and that was one of the things I was questioning when you had the first workshop is how will the construction, do you have kind of like a deadline or not maybe deadline, but a date that you're shooting to once this is done is when you're shooting to see when the construction will begin and or if a target date maybe?
Yes, so we have target the construction to begin spring 2026. That's our goal. Um, but again, it will all depend if we are happy with all the connections that we have made with the community, if everything
Okay.
is in place to start. But that's the shooting date that we have.
2026. And what do
Yes.
you think is a projection time period? Will it be like a year, 2 years, 6 months? How do you think you'll see that?
Yes, so our timeline goes to the end of 2026.
Okay.
But since this is a project that is being granted by the Department of Economic Development, the project has to be completed by December 2027.
Okay.
Again, I don't think or anticipate we will go that long, but that's the time frame that we have. And also, I wanted to circle back a little bit, Cheryl, and you mentioned something very important about how the community can put their input about this project. And I want to reinforce that what we want to do is a sense of ownership, that we have the people using the trail because they feel that their comments or their ideas matter, and that will be with them going to the workshops, making sure that if they say I want this paint or this art to be placed in this space, when they walk by they will say I did this, that was
Mhm.
my idea. So we want that sense of ownership for the community to be or to have in the trail.
And I like that you brought that out in the word ownership is because one of the things that I like the ideal of I follow some of the things Malcolm X says, and Malcolm X is always saying if you own it, if you can have ownership to something, then you can control what goes in and out of it. So maybe we don't own the trail per se to actually physically, but the ideal of having ownership of ideals and things going in it, that will make a difference as well. The other thing is, and I want people to notice if you disappear, here's your website for this that you can go to anytime and check that out. But I also like, before we move on to another thing, when you talked about this, you mentioned since it is funded, people will know this is completely funded already. It's not like, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because of the current administration has put a freeze on so many different things. I know that Spark did apply for a EPA grant that's probably just kind of like done, um,
Yeah.
for at least while the administration is in. So this is so we can be very clear. You're not waiting on any funding. You don't have to work, be considered, well, okay, we have this. You already have the funding secured for this project.
That's right. So the funding is coming from the state.
Okay.
So that funding, as you say, has been already been secure. We have the funding, what we're doing, or the partnership that we have with the Department of Economic Development at this point is just to make sure that we're using the funds for the right
Hmm.
purpose. But the funding is there. We are just, again, as I say, just to making sure that we're using it for the right purpose. But yes, we have the funding. This is just a state fund, right? The federal.
Okay. And one other thing that I wanted to bring out was the construction because that is a big thing for me is
Hmm.
I would like to see the smaller contractors have some involvement in this. And I know at the first workshop, we kind of there was a period of time kind of going back and forth. Um, what is, or kind of give contractors an idea of how they can participate in this? Um, will that be like after the fourth workshop, and you're kind of getting the date? I want to see, we want to be prepared. I like to be prepared. I don't like to be reactive. I want to be active. So if they're coming to this, is there going to be where there will be a section or time that says, hey, this is where we're at. We're looking for, this is what we'll need in order for you to become a contractor some way. I know at the first workshop, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I know first name, he said he was going to be very involved in trying to bring that about. So could you just kind of give a little bit of tip on that?
Yes, so these workshops and the one in Saturday are more focused about the design of the
Okay.
trail. But I think it's very important to know what the community really wants to know. So bringing these topics on like what's the construction gonna look like, it's important. So if we feel or if we are very strong about we need to do another meeting regardless to this, I feel that that's the moment for the people in the community to tell us. To be truly honest with you, what you guys will work on in these workshops is more about the design, how it will look, what would you see, rather than going to the details or the technicality about who will pick the construction. But
Hmm.
I feel it's important for the community to come and say, this is what is important to me, and this is what I would like to get more information from you.
And also they can give you, if they are a contractor, they'll be able to say, hey, here's put my name on the list so that we can be able to get back, you can get back with me to
That's
say, hey,
right.
these are the skills or these are the things that I can do because everybody who's a small contractor or large contractor, you know, has different skills that they are good at and in value. Um,
That's
so we
right.
want to make sure one more couple of things here is on the workshop. And what if somebody says, okay, I know I missed this workshop, and before you have four, here's some ideals or something that I can. How would they let that be known? Would that be a direct contact to you, an email or the website, or how would someone say, I didn't make that meeting, but I'm kind of interested in this. Could you let me know, put me on the list for the next meeting as soon as you know about it? And then could you, how would they do that?
Yes, so there are different ways where they can access us. To one
Okay.
will be our email, so they can either just contact us with fabric@sparcdi.com, or another potential way that they can find us is just coming to the Fabric Lab for the open hours that we have. Again, is Wednesday to Saturday, 10 to
Hmm.
3.
Okay.
And also they can just do the email registration. If in the email registration, they can just tell us, I will not be able to make it to any of the three in person. How can we make the online version happen, or when that will happen? So if we have their contact, we can just forward that invitation to them.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, Another
we
thing
want to
that,
be as reachable as possible.
well, I like that.
Yes.
I like the fact, and that's one more reason why I'm only really supporting this instead of being against it, is that so
We
far
really
you've shown
appreciate
that
it.
Sparks is really wanting to be involved, and I forgot to make a disclosure at the beginning of this that I am involved in the Spark Community Advisory Group for this trail, as well as on the Spark CDI board. So forgot to do that. I usually do it always at the front, but I didn't. So anyway, that's out. But I do want people to understand this is not just 24th Street. A lot of people are getting this confused to say, one, they're negative about the trail because I don't want to see 24th Street have this bike trail and writing down when you're trying to bring 24th Street back to be economically. Um, so could you clarify that the one side of the street, they will not have bicycle lanes. There is going to be a I think it's called pedestrian sidewalk where
Yes.
pedestrians and bicycles will go in that certain space on 24th Street, but not all of 24th Street. Could you explain that?
Yes, that's right. So in the workshop, we're going to talk about the layout and we're just going to take the participants into a virtual map where they will walk with us through that route. But it will go, as you say, Cheryl, it will go just from 26th Street all the way down to Franklin. And at Franklin is where they will meet at 24. And from
Okay.
24, it will go just onto Bird Street. So what's going to happen in that section is that the trail will go behind the curb, which means yes, the two lines will be smaller because we want to build that tray, that multimodal trail that will go from 24 to Bird. Yes, it will not be directed only for bikes. It will be directed for people walking, biking, or using any other kind of method to use the trail.
Okay.
But it's not going all 24th Street.
Straight.
That's right.
Okay. Because as I spoke at the first workshop, a lot of people have the idea that 24th Street is going to have the marked lines for bicycle traffic only, but it will not be on the, I think that would say the west side. It's going to be on the east side where it will be a pedestrian bicycle friendly so that people hopefully will be respectful of the walkers will be respectful of the bicycles. So that begins. And I don't think it was mentioned at the workshop, but aren't there where, because I know some people say, well, I can't do no bicycle, can't do this. There's different types that you're looking at and would like to have more input. Would people be interested in? There are bicycles that are made for the more seasoned folks. Will that be made available or how will that work?
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I
Okay,
didn't
some
understand the
people,
question.
we aren't good in these two-wheel bicycles, but there are different types of bicycles that if you are
Okay.
more, when I say seasoned, elderly, elders, however you want to mature, where you're not going to be doing that pumping on a two-wheel bicycle.
Yep. Yes, so that's the beauty having a multimodal trail. It's
Okay.
just that it will be wider than the,
Mhm.
I'm going to say regulars, but I don't know if that's the right term. But it will be a 10 feet. So it
Right.
will have a space for, let's say, a wheelchair, a person on a bike. So it will
That's
have
what I
more
thought.
space for the people to mobilize around the trail.
And so there'd probably even be like the bicycles where parents will be able to put their kids on the back or either ride, have them in the front, but they're on a bicycle. And that's where I think hopefully, maybe in the workshop this coming up, you will be getting more information and it'll be on the website to explain that because when people hear you're going to put a 10-foot sidewalk on 24th Street. That really gets people upset. And that,
Yeah.
so, hopefully there'll be more explanation as to what that means. Maybe, as they say, visual picture, we're a visual society now. So we have to see these things. And hopefully, maybe at the workshop, there might be what that looks like, what a 10-foot bicycle pedestrian sidewalk kind of
Yeah.
looks like.
And Also, I want to point out that from the first workshop that we have, few things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
We have done a better job with the coloring of the map. We have been doing a better job on like how can indicate to people where are we going or where are we
Yeah.
at. We also are including important sites or buildings or assets that we have along the face too, and we have pictures on how it would look like a bike, a person, somebody taking out the dog, right? So all
Mm-hmm.
those things that we need to consider. But again, it is important that community come to us to tell us you need to consider these kind of things because I will be using the trail mostly. So I need you to start thinking about these things. Like right now, what we're doing is thinking about what we think people will use, but we
Mm-hmm.
will really need is to know what do you want
Mm-hmm.
to have in the trail so we can use it for you.
Okay. Is that,
Yeah.
as I get some feedback from the community, and that's one of the things that people, um, I always say the more communication and clarity that you can provide can eliminate a lot of the negativity that you will get towards whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Um, the other thing I was looking at have they had questions on, and this sounds like um this workshop and then finally the final one will workshop is that you've learned from the first two. And I like that.
Yes.
You said, hey, we made
Yes.
mistakes, but we're trying and we're learning and we're listening to what you have to say. So that's an encouragement I want to say to people how important your role is if you attend these things, then you can have more input. And then if it isn't, you're able to hold whoever it is accountable. And
That's
that's
right.
where I think it comes in our participation of being involved. So I want to get to people again. There was one thing I didn't mention. People do not be afraid on Saturday. There is parking. Can you kind of
It,
explain where that parking is? It's because I know I've been there before, and that was one of the things I was asking you about up
yep.
front when I was doing the first PowerPoint presentation is people are well, that's not much parking down there. So could you just kind of give a brief, and would that be available on your website as
Yes.
to the
So
maps that you sent to me? Could that be out there on there?
yes, so the location that you guys can see at the
Mhm.
workshop is will bring you straight up to the parking area where
Okay,
you can leave the car. The beauty of doing this workshop on Saturday is that all the college students are going back home, so we will have more ability
right.
to park the car. But we have, or you guys will have three parking areas. So right at the Harper Center, in front of the building, there is parking space
Okay,
crossing the street on the east and on the west, you will have access to it. But I will work with the marketing team to have that map list out in the website to have easy access. Also, for everyone that has registered at this point, I made sure to send that map. So if
okay.
you still have the chance to register and I see that your registration is coming, I will send the map to you to have a better access on where you can park.
Great, great, great. I think we've covered pretty much. Is there anything that you would like to put out as we close out? As to what, information that you wanted to give. Maybe I didn't ask that question or something. So I'm going to give you the last few minutes for closing and to whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah, thank you. So, thank you so much for having me here. I feel that we have covered everything, but I want to stress a little bit more. It is important for you to come to the workshops because we want to know what you would like to see. And the only way is for you is to come into the workshops, right? To give us all those ideas. So, again, if you cannot make it in person, we have the Fabric Lab. You can come and visit us, or you can go to our website, shoot us a message, and we'll make sure to have all your input gathered together and have the four workshop to be the discussion of what you guys provide and how the plan will come along.
Great, great. Well, thank you. I'm so happy that we were able to get this worked in. Our
Yes.
schedules were kept looking, and I was like, oh gosh, I really want. But I have had it up on the Facebook page, and we will put this particular video up on our website and our YouTube channel. But I just wanted to encourage people, um, don't complain if you don't get out and become involved. At least don't complain to me because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna tell you like put it to the hand. I don't want to hear it. I will say you're making every effort to try to make this be something that the people community says that they want and not just what someone has designed for us. And when I say us, I mean the community. And like I said, this is important. It's going to happen, and it should happen with your input, meaning the community's input. Here's an opportunity. So with that, thank you again that we were able to get this together, and I'll make sure that I send it over to you, but it will be out on Conversations with Cheryl Weston Facebook page this evening. So have a
All right.
great rest of your afternoon.
You
Thanks so
too. Thank
much.
you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right. Bye.